Florida for the 2018 American Athletic Conference Women's Soccer Championship. We would like to remind all fans of the American Athletic Conference and the University of South Florida encourages and promotes sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Family, racial, or ethnic comments or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the site of competition. Thank you. The Torchline game features the number 16 with an overall record of 7 wins, 10 losses, and 1 tie, 3-5-1 in league play, the Owls from Temple University. Versus the number 3 seed with an overall record of 9 wins, 6 losses, and 1 tie, 6-3 in league play, the Knights from UCF. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for playing our national anthem. And now for the introduction of today's starting lineups. First, the visiting Owls from Temple. In goal from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, number 0, Morgan Priscillo. A midfielder from Stamford, Connecticut, number 2, Natalie Jewell. A midfielder from Egg Harbor City, New Jersey, number 5, Julia Dolan. A defenseman from Egg Harbor City, New Jersey, number 7, Kelsey Dolan. A midfielder from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, number 9, Sarah McGlynn. A forward from Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania.
We welcome you to Tampa, Florida on the campus of USF, where on this Halloween we kick off the American Women's Soccer Championship. It is the first round as we get things started with the Owls of Temple, the Knights of UCF. It's the 6 seed versus the 3 seed. winner moves on to Friday night's semifinals as they pursue that automatic bid ultimately on Sunday. Of course, winner of this will get the 2-seed Memphis Tigers. Later on tonight here on the American Digital Network, we'll bring you the Mustangs and the Pirates colliding for the right to meet the host University Bulls of USF. On that note, again, happy Halloween, everyone. Welcome pitchside. Lincoln Rose along with Matt Stubbington. And, well, here's two teams. Of course, UCF, they have actually won a title back in 2013 for Temple. They're looking for that first automatic bid out of this conference into the NCAA tournament.
Now, certainly two different teams. The Knights will be a little frustrated to be playing on the first day of this tournament. Results didn't quite go the Knights' way as the season wound down. For the Temple, they played well, had some inconsistent results, and they're happy to be here playing, and they're wanting to find a way to upset the Knights and get that automatic bid.
To get that upset, we take a look at the ladies from Philadelphia. What do they need to do here in Tampa to continue their season?
They have to stay organized defensively. Make sure that the defense starts from the forward position all the way back to the back line. And once the ball is won, the Owls need to counter quickly and unsettle the Knights defensively and get the balls into the attacking third to create the opportunities.
For the Knights, last time we suited up, it was right here in Tampa with the chance to possibly be hosting in Orlando this week. They came up short 1-0 against the Bulls. How do they bounce back with a win on this same pitch?
Well, UCF will get their opportunities this afternoon, and they have to deal with those opportunities with patient urgency. Marriage the intensity of the game with the execution of the game. And then part of that is making sure that the runs are made in the box to get on the end of those balls served in and find a way to put the ball in the back of the net.
So much talent on display all week long here in Tampa, and with Temple, well, we take a detour. Someone coming off the bench for Seamus O'Connor today. It'll be Emma Wilkins. What an unselfish player she's proven to be.
She's a wonderful player. She's playing that role of super sub. She's filling in wherever she's needed. Her physicality is going to be key this afternoon as Temple will be trying to get that defensive started from the forward positions, and then she'll get in the box, find a way to put the ball in the back of the net. She's proven time again this season.
Well, of course, it's Halloween, but don't go knocking on the door of Vera Barros, your two-time goalkeeper of the year, including the last couple of weeks here to close out the season.
She's a wonderful goalkeeper, plays the geometry of the position beautifully, commands the box. And she also has the ability to distribute the ball really nicely and start the offense off for UCF. She's a key component of what happens for the Knights defensively, and she makes those big saves when she has to.
When we come back, it's opening kick here in Tampa. Knights battle the Owls for the right to have a date with Memphis on Friday in the semifinals.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Big changes are on the way.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity.
This is big, baby!
So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it.
It's an exclusive group arriving here in Tampa. Just 6 teams qualifying for the American Conference Championship in women's soccer. That includes these Owls and Knights. For more, let's check in with Haley Outen.
I had a chance to catch up with both head coaches prior to today's match. First from UCF, head coach Tiffany Roberts-Sahadek telling me that her team was obviously disappointed after their last outing against USF with the regular season championship and the right to host on the line, but she was actually really proud of her team and hopes that that's the standard moving forward here in the conference tournament. And from Temple, Seamus O'Connor, he knows that their team is the underdog mentality. They've lived Temple tough all year long. In fact, picked in the preseason to finish 10th. So they're used to playing with a chip on their shoulder, guys, and they plan to continue playing that way today.
Haley mentioned UCF was on this pitch in their final regular season matchup. They had not lost on the road in conference play until that regular season championship defeat against USF 1-0, when of course Evelyn Vienne, the all everything in this league, got the job done for the Bulls. But the Knights looking to bounce back. They've actually performed quite well away from Orlando this year. Other than that loss here in Tampa last week, the only time they had lost all year long away from Orlando was that opener up in Chapel Hill against North Carolina, and I think you can forgive that.
You certainly can't forgive that. Obviously, North Carolina are a fantastic team with a lot of storied history, and UCF will be disappointed that they did lose last time out on this field. And it's one of those wake-up calls, though, for the team, and time for redemption for the Knights. See if they can put their best foot forward, get into the semifinals, and then who knows, maybe they can find a way to get in the finals and win the silverware.
Seamus O'Connor in his 6th year at the helm of the Owls up in Philadelphia, 12th year overall as a college coach here in the States. Of course, a name like Seamus O'Connor will let you guess, but we'll confirm for you he is in fact from Ireland. And we are told his biggest fan, Temple's #1 supporter all the way back in Ireland, Helen O'Connor, Seamus' mom, tuning in. The family's got her all set up to watch the live stream. Thrilled to have her and so many other fans, not just throughout the States, but around the world, tuning in here on the American Digital Network. Underway, the Owls in white, the Knights from just down Interstate 4, wearing all black. Again, the Knights go 6-3 in conference after being picked to be your preseason favorites, but it's a group that had 11 newcomers, 7 of them freshmen, as well as a couple of French additions. We talked about the international game, and at the college level, no exception to that. Battle will tap into this back row of the Owls. Temple's been able to hang tough with their opposition this year. They've scored 8 first-half goals, conceding 9.
You're talking about the internationals. It's been incredible with the World Cup just around the corner. So many teams in the college game affected by players missing on international duty.
Owls leaning forward right now. Ball with Morocco. Slips past a couple of Knights. Dribbles to her right and gets all the way into the 18 among 4 defenders before the ball finally stripped away. Well, you're talking about rosters being affected. One of the best defenders in this league, Kanya Plummer, for the Knights on that back line, #6. She gets to play right in front of Vera Vars, and she is thrilled to have Plummer back after she helped lead the Reggae girls to the first ever Caribbean berth into the Women's World Cup in a couple years.
Oh, fantastic for the Reggae girls. And Plummer is playing in the right back position. She couldn't help on that defensive set. That was really poor defensively from the Knights. They'll have to do better. Morocco just tiptoeing through the tulips. It was all too easily for Morocco. In the end, the Knights were able to get back defensively and pick the pocket, but UCF are going to have to take better care of the ball and with their concentration on the back line. Otherwise, they're going to end up getting pipped and a cheap goal given up.
Where else are you going to see women from Jamaica and Finland hanging out as often as Plummer and Vars do? That ball right into the UCF bench. And a toss here for the Owls. There you see, well, former standout for USA as a teenager back in the days. Then Tiffany Roberts, now Tiffany Roberts Sahadak, her husband, of course, on the coaching staff, Tim Sahadak. Both of them standouts for North Carolina in their college days. Tiffany would go on to play pro. And after coming over from Virginia Commonwealth, has been a great fit for UCF.
Done a wonderful job in Orlando. So much experience as a player and now as a coach.
We will point out right now Charlie Strong's football program warming up for Tulane off in the background. We'll keep most of our attention on the other football going on here today with our 2 first-round matchups. Again, an automatic bye for the top 2 teams, USF and Memphis. So UCF with that loss here in Tampa last weekend goes from potentially hosting in Orlando to losing the first-round bye altogether, slipping to the 3 seed, because Memphis would collect a full 3 points in a great comeback against Tulsa. Ball chipped in. They were looking for the German who was behind Sanders. And Temple holds off a scary moment. Sanders off her right foot, can't do anything with it. And all the way back into space, out towards Emily Tipton.
It was a difficult cross ball play, but to Orshman. She did her very best off the full volley to control it and tee up a teammate.
Well, Temple's holding their own here against the Knights, who just now are finally on the attack, but they give it back over to the Owls. The toss here from DeGenova. Sophomore out of Pennsylvania. Really has stepped in nicely as the outside back when Lacey Powell, with a knee injury, has missed the entire year. A toss from Tipton. Orschmann looking for her countrymate. The two Germans were among those who left the program. They played in that U20 Women's World Cup in France for the German U20 team. Back to Plummer. Oh, quick touch. Knights sizing things up, outscoring their opposition this year 31-18, doubling them up in the first half, giving themselves frequent advantages to play with, outscoring opponents 14-7 in the first 45 minutes of play. Both battling around in the midfield. Finally, Sanders on it, looking to turn. Sanders 30 yards out, eyes upfield. Chipped in. The run on the back end by Mernon. And this will quickly go untouched. Let's check back in with Haley.
When we had a chance to talk to Temple head coach Seamus O'Connor before the game, he said that defense is going to be key, and we'll see it all the way from the top with Gabby Johnson, her defensive pressure that she's putting on UCF, and they're just now starting to get into the offensive half, the Knights that is. So interesting to see the Temple defense and how high pressure they are.
These two teams met. Ultimately, Temple fell 2-1, but Johnson had that lone goal in a comeback effort. Big set piece right here, Matt, for the Knights. Back post. Owls will get the first contact, and now they'll swing it over to the other flag for another corner. Back-to-back corner kicks here for the number 3 seed Knights. We talk about Gabby Johnson's emergence, and that gives you the flexibility with somebody like Emma Wilkins, who's mature enough to take a reserve role.
She's coming off the bench, being the super sub, such an important role in the game of soccer. And you're right about these corner kicks being big. Set pieces huge in the game of soccer, but particularly in playoff matches. And it's going to be very important for the Owls to concentrate throughout these set pieces.
Lawrence sends it in, quickly sent back out by Drool. Owls not in the clear just yet. Finally, ball squeezed in by Basilio. Morgan Basilio, the homegrown Philly girl, getting to play her college ball in her hometown. Basilio just allowing a little over a goal per contest. 4 shutouts on the year.
It's good defense work from Temple throughout the set piece. As the ball comes back in, that's the second phase of the set piece.
Wide open spaces. They were looking to connect with Morocco. And back over to the Owls, this will go.
And then unlucky there, she read that pass all the way. Just wasn't able to soften the touch to spring herself down this near sideline.
Well, right now, Seamus O'Connor is braving this Tampa, Florida sun. The rest of his team actually back in the shade. You compare that to the women from Orlando who are standing out there in the sun, used to these conditions throughout the year. Morocco sends one in, back post, just could not find the punctuation from McGlynn.
Oh, McGlynn's just got to sacrifice the body, slide in, get herself turned so that she's hitting that with her left foot. Flung her right foot at the ball, but that wasn't the right choice. Great ball played in from this near sideline.
Back to Plummer under some pressure from Sorrentino. Up through the midfield, courtesy of Mernon. Sophomore able to link up with Orschmann. Extra pass to Sanders. And just a great tackle, stripping it away off the German's boot.
I'd like to see Orschmann just pull a little bit closer to the sideline, get more of an angle to receive the ball that was played forwards. That would give more room for Sanders to run into the ball.
Sanders, 6 game winners this year. That's the 4th best number in the country. She actually leads the country, 5.87 shots per match. They deny her a shot on frame that time around. Again, great conditions here in Tampa, considering it's the final day of October. Temple looking for that opening advantage. Will slip one through the back line, but no stress for Vera Varas. The best this league has had the past 2 years. Not just that, but one of the top student athletes in the country. A 4.0 working on her master's. She's in the running for the Senior Class Award for her performance on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. And that back line in front of her picking her up as well.
Scott did a really good job defensively there for UCF coming back. It looked like Temple were going to get a goal scoring opportunity, but took too long on the ball.
Sanders tries one with the left foot. It'll go about 5 feet wide, but she's going to take those opportunities when she gets them. We'll take this opportunity to check back in with Haley.
We're happy to have all of you tuning in with us on Facebook from home, and we have our first trivia question for you today. Between UCF and Temple, which team has had more appearances in the American tournament since its inception in 2013?
Yeah, Haley, thank you very much. It is elite company for teams that have consistently qualified as often as even these Knights have. They're one of just 4 programs in the American to ever win this tournament. We'll have the official answer to Haley's specific question in a little bit. I'd love to have everybody chime in with their thoughts. There's only 2 teams in this year's field of 6 that have actually won the championship, because both UConn and Cincinnati, to tell you how good this league was this year, both going through a few growing pains, and that was enough to keep them on the outside.
The history that UConn have, is really surprising that they are not in this tournament. You said growing pains for those 2 squads, but coaching staffs, those scores will get them back on the right way very soon.
Plummer links up with the all-rookie squad honoree. Ball almost slipped through that back line.
So tough for Temple. They're getting the ball where they need to, but the outside backs need to get forwards and wide to receive a pass. And those 2 forward players as well, Johnson and Serentino, need to find a way to get to the strong side of the field to be an outlet. Temple will not be successful if the passes keep going down the middle of the pitch. It makes life very easy for UCF defensively.
Simply a goal kick here for the Owls. Well, we are in Tampa in part because USF only lost 1 conference match all year. And of course, they lost that in overtime to these Owls. They were the reason why UCF arguably was in the hunt going into that regular season finale, after UCF had had a couple of stumbles against ECU and SMU. Of course, both of those programs are in the bracket this week. And flag is up, offside, and that ball may have come in dirty on Sanders. Let's see if they award the ball a yellow. Decleating, the German. Johnson, the freshman. Stripped away by Amon. Chung will come out to defend this one, and you talk about next athlete up. Chung filling in wonderfully, of course, with her great lineage. Her dad, Mark, former member of the U.S. men's national team, actually played in Major League Soccer against her current coach, Tim Zahadak. But she has stepped in when a 2-year starter, Kwaska, was lost to injury this year. Never know when your opportunity will come about.
It's great to see Sam Chung on the field. Wasn't getting her opportunities in Gainesville with University of Florida. Decided to jump ship and go to Orlando, and has really seized that chance that she's had with Coach Robert Zahadak and held on with both hands and done a really fantastic job this season.
Might be able to tell from the accent. Matt spends a lot of time in Gainesville. Johnson. Again, what a wonderful freshman Gabby Johnson has been in her first year of college soccer. And she's a big reason why the Owls are here. Had that equalizer against Houston in the 35th minute. Would come on to get an overtime game winner against the Cougars in that matchup. That was early in the season, but for one of their critical victories in conference play. Ultimately would have 5 goals as a freshman coming into the tournament this week. Chung to Orchman.
We were talking to Coach O'Connor before the game. He mentioned that 1-0 result that the Owls had against USF, and so that his team plays better against the better teams. Starting to see that a little bit in this game. They're matching UCF defensively. Had some chances to go forwards, but as far as those penetrating balls into the attacking third, haven't really seen a lot from the Owls up to this point. There was that one really good cross coming in that McGlynn couldn't quite connect with.
Well, Seamus has put together a nice staff there in Philadelphia. You have former Owl Paula Jurowitz on the staff, one of the best midfielders the program's seen. And of course, David Hodgson added to the staff, former coach in Kansas City in the NWSL, worked with the likes of Carly Lloyd as well as Sam Kerr, the Australian.
It's one heck of a player to work with. Well, two wonderful players, of course, with Lloyd, but Sam Kerr, for my money, is probably the best female player on the planet at the moment, at least as a forward.
83% went with the Knights, and we'll confirm the majority is correct. And we'll break some of that success down here that the Knights have had over the years in these conference tournaments. 6 tournament wins all time. That's individual matches. They won the championship in 2013. Of course, every year except once in this championship, that final match has come down to a shootout after a draw, after 110 minutes have expired. Often some scoreless classics. As again, UCF will win itself a corner kick here. Temple's looking for its first ever win in the conference tournament. They were here 2013, 14, and 15, but a drought the past couple of years before returning this year here to Tampa. Another
searching ball played across. Wonderful touch there from Orshman. Good defensive work for DeGenova to get back, conceding the corner kick, but could have been oh so much worse with that wonderful first touch.
Chung will get her first breather. Carrie Lawrence announced this week, second team all-conference, the senior out of Orlando. Transfer from South Carolina, sends one in on the back post and just grazes the ponytail on the back of the noggin of Sanders. So close. They will have another opportunity at the far pin.
Well, this was a brilliant ball and it had everything on it. The service was perfect. The run was there. The timing of the leap was missing from Sanders. Question is, how does Sanders get that open inside the 6? Poor defending from the Owls.
At 5'11", the sophomore, hard to miss. Try keeps this one in play. Top of the 18. Merton able to settle it, shot on frame. It'll spill briefly, but no damage done. Basilio has it, and we remain scoreless here in the first round.
Saw a great touch from Orshman to start off this whole set of attacks for UCF. And look at that touch with the right thigh from Kweska to just get it to her right, snatching the shot a little bit, but beautiful first touch to set up that shooting opportunity.
So the Knights have started being able to put some set pieces together. A near miss with Sanders on that first corner a moment ago. But give Temple credit. They've conceded 4 corners. Oh, still 0-0. Of course, Vera Varis still back in her frame when she's not being tested by shots. Simply communicating with that back line, keeping them organized, letting as few balls leak through as possible. It's been a nice legacy in goal over the years for UCF. Had Connie Organ before Varis. Orshman. And it'll be a throw for the Knights.
Well, defensively from the ball at Veris's feet, that was the set that Temple wanted. They denied the short passes to the goalkeeper of UCF. The ball was played long. In the end, Brown needs to do better with it, get rid of the ball more quickly. She took too many touches on the ball. It just invited the pressure from UCF. And they were able to get the ball deep in their attacking third with the throw-in.
Tipped in a captain, sends it in. Back post opportunity, but the Owls on it. Good discipline on the back for the number 6 seed. All the way back to Plummer. Thrilled to have you with us here on the American Digital Network. Lincoln Rose, Matt Stubbington, along with Haley Outen down on the pitch. The Knights, your number 3 seed coming into this week. Battling with the 6 seed Owls. And a throw coming up.
Searching ball from Mernon. Maybe a little bit ambitious from the center area of the pitch. He should have gone shorter to switch the point of attack. Like the imagination, though.
Orshman, who's playing while battling a cold this week. Opportunity to check back in with our former standout on the pitch, Haley.
Happy to have you joining us on Facebook. And Lincoln, Matt, and I are actually monitoring your comments right here on our laptops and iPads, and we want to know where you're watching from. We have parents and family members all over the country and the world watching. So tell us where you're watching from.
You hear the wind whipping around again. A nice welcome breeze as we are in the mid-80s early and throughout this week here in Tampa. Would love to know where you are tuning from and what temperature it might be in your living room. Looking to link up on that back post. Still unable to clear. It's off the bar. Doesn't cross the line. No goal awarded. They will talk it over.
Referee Mr. Cotterill is going over to the far sideline to talk it over with his assistant. Signal from the assistant on that far sideline is not clear. Should have run more towards the halfway line to indicate that the ball did cross the goal line. But with the modern technology of headsets and microphones,
UCF
decision is that the ball goes in.
Awarded a goal for Kristen Scott, the freshman. And the Knights have the advantage.
Coach O'Connor is up talking to the 4th official, wondering what the decision is.
Again, number 7, Kristen Scott with that goal, the Orlando native in her first year in this conference tournament.
And the ball came down from the crossbar. It didn't look like it had fully crossed the goal line. And as the ball bounced up to the goalkeeper, Basillo, it just seemed like the keeper couldn't stop it from going beyond the goal line. From our angle, we couldn't clearly see that it did cross completely, but the official on that far sideline did indicate that it was a goal.
Scott awarded her 5th goal now on the year. How will the Owls respond? Seamus O'Connor told us if they fell behind early, we'd see some quick adjustments. A lot of them would be on the back line, would throw more numbers forward. We'll see if that's reflected here already. A throw deep in UCF territory.
And Coach O'Connor will probably just be a little bit patient. Team's been in this match. No need to panic. There's a long way to go. Only 3 minutes left in the first half, so maybe we'll see some adjustments from the Temple coach after halftime, but up until that point, I think he'll just swing the clubs that he brung into the opening kickoff.
UCF looking for insurance now, has already given the goalkeeper of the year a 1-goal lead to work with. Sent through by LeGroux, and a tad heavy will get away.
Not very good shape defensively there from Temple. They got a little flat. Somebody has to step up onto the ball. Keidel was there, but didn't really step into the point of the triangle to put the pressure on the player with the ball. And then the 2 players with her have to pinch in and make sure that the ball is passed in front. It can't be a penetrating ball through the defensive line.
And again, this time a ball corralled by Basilio. You know, it's a Temple team that's returning to the conference tournament after a hiatus the past couple of years, despite the fact, you know, no Lacey Powell, no Haley Gutowski, as well as Fran Davis, stand out from over in England, sustained a knee injury before she could get her collegiate career underway. Foul's going to set up this kick now from Maura Amon. The senior will send it in. And she was looking up, trying to link up with the same freshman who scored that opener, Kristen Scott. This one from 20. And just sent over the crossbar. Corner kick coming up after Murnan forces the save from Basilio.
It was seen late by the goalkeeper. Very nice footwork to move to her right, get in the position to put the hands on the ball. Wasn't the most convincing of saves, but it was enough to keep the ball out of the back of the net, all set up by the good footwork.
So again, back to the all-conference midfielder here, Carrie Lawrence. Looking for insurance in the opening half. Low driving delivery into the side of the net.
I was going to compliment her on the quality of her serves up to this point. Glad I kept my mouth shut. She might claim the commentator's curse even though I didn't say anything.
Well, Temple had been holding its own, including a couple of early opportunities in this match, but 6 corners building up opportunities for the Knights, and they finally get a header to go through. Number 3 seed, hoping for the chance to move on. The Knights, for the 5th time in conference history, are a top 3 seed. They are the only program that can claim that kind of consistency. Again, they won the tournament back in 2013. Johnson drawing plenty of attention. Still finds space to send a shot, but it's going to be well wide.
A little bit better that time from Temple. It's time to pass the move, the ball a little bit better. Many touches sometimes on the ball, though, taking away some opportunities to pass the ball forwards, having to go backwards or sideways. That allows the Knights time to set up more defensively.
We just saw a rare touch a moment ago for Vera Varas. She does not mind whatsoever the way this match has played out in the midfield and her back line, the success they've had keeping the ball out of that final third.
I don't want any long searching diagonal balls from this near sideline. You can see her shielding her eyes from the sun as the shadows creep onto the pitch.
Johnson sends one in right in front of the frame. It'll be knocked down by Varas. Mentioned she already has her undergraduate degree, and in her spare time when she's not back there defending the frame, she's taking classes in biomedicine and chemistry, defending a 4.0 GPA. Mentioned she was preceded by Connie Organ, who played 3 years. Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak, of course, probably felt good about the goalkeeper position after her junior year until she found out she was not going to come back to play out her eligibility. She was going to move on to, quote, the real world. That left them searching for a goalkeeper, but Tim Zahadak happened to come across Vera at a tournament. And the rest is history now for one of the top keepers this conference has seen over the years.
Fortunate to find a player of Veras' quality. A 4.0 is pretty impressive in college, no matter what your major is, but to do it with biomedical and
GPA yes, goals allowed no. Yeah. As Temple's going to bring Emma Wilkins, your super sub, on. The swap for UCF is Emily Tipton, the left back, coming out in place of Sydney Brown, the freshman from Winter Park.
Johnson moving over to the right side of midfield, but Wilkins up top. That way the speed of Johnson can be utilized as a midfielder out wide.
Sent in, looking for a brace early on. Header will be directed wide from Scott. Talk about the youth movement here in this matchup. Sophomores and freshmen looking to play big roles.
Lovely ball played across. Scott just tried to do too much with this. Flick it into the back post area. Maybe just look at the goal and put it on frame. That would have really challenged the goalkeeper to make a save. Basilio, as she was moving from her right to left. Watching the ball cross her 18-yard box.
Simply a throw at midfield here for the Knights. Knights have lost 2 of their last 3 matches. Remember, they stumbled at home against SMU. Ball chipped in. Orsman onside. Tries to chip one over the head of the opposing keeper, Basilio, but no such luck.
I like these diagonal balls into the box from UCF. A little unlucky Orsman there. The ball didn't fall more kindly for her. Wonderful imagination, though, to try and chip the goalkeeper.
Again, both of the Germans, sophomores now, leaders in the attack for UCF. A giveaway. Johnson tries to stay onside. That flag will stay down as she's on the wing. She's found her dance partner, and ultimately Vera Varas will smother it.
Ball was just a little underneath Johnson there. Couldn't get it out from underneath her feet. Control was not quite as good as she would have liked. In the end, she wasn't able to then deliver the service with enough effectiveness at the near post.
Yeah, it's twice now she's had nobody to play with other than the opposing keeper.
Cotterill not happy with the challenge. Demonstratively saying no more.
Just a verbal warning to Elise Legru, the freshman from France. Again, 2 newcomers from France after signing day being added to the roster for UCF coming into this year, along with the 7 freshmen from Florida. And that flag will go up well offside. No debate about it as the Germans try to link up.
UCF unfortunate there. This back line of Temple stepping up in unison. Easy call for the official on the far sideline.
Our difference right now, a header that bounced in for Kristen Scott. Two of the stingiest goalkeepers in this league. Varas conceding just a little over 1 goal per match at 1.1. And simply a goal kick coming up for the aforementioned 2-time goalkeeper of the year. Sanders will get her first breather of the match. The sophomore will come out, so they lose the talented striker. In her place, Jessica Taylor, the 4th-year junior out of Tampa. A little homecoming for her. She went to Steinbrenner High School. She scored off the bench in their regular season clash with these Owls. Gave them the advantage in the 44th minute back in that one.
Here the Temple staff asking their players to switch the ball, switch the point of attack, as they were trying to get the ball played forwards prior to the Varas goal kick. Temple unable to do that, going to the near side. In the end, it was very easy for UCF just to run the ball out of bounds over the byline for the restart from Varas.
On the edge of the area. Oh, dangerous cross, but nobody there to put it home on the back post. They're looking for Orsman.
Scott needs to pop out to the penalty spot. She goes into the near post area and just didn't offer any target for the ball coming in. If Scott pops back out to the top of the box towards the penalty spot, she'll be there for the angled pass backwards, and it'll be an easy finish.
Simply a kick here for Basilio. Looking for Plummer. It was a great battle, that regular season finale between Plummer and Vienne, one of your top defenders in this league. against one of your top strikers, the Canadian and the Jamaican. And the end just one goal separated USF and UCF. It was the second straight year that War on I-4 rivalry would determine the right to host this week for the women.
It was a strange goal from Vienne too, outside the box. Didn't seem like there was a lot of pace on the ball. Perez saw it late through traffic and wasn't able to get across and make the save, and that's what Vienne gives you. She's so opportunistic and a great vision for the back of the net.
Trying to settle this one. Mernon sends one in. It'll be wide. Check back in with Haley Outen down on the pitch.
You mentioned opportunistic players, and one of those for Temple has been Gabby Johnson this year. She's come up in the clutch twice in conference play with game winners, and it's always been a dream of Gabby's to play at Temple. Coach Seamus O'Connor says that she was at every Temple event. She would come to all the games and the camps and the clinics, but she had the skill level that he was looking for, but he challenged her to become more fit and play better defense. And that's something that she took very seriously her senior year of high school. In fact, she put a note on the fridge that said, get more fit, play better defense. She hired a personal trainer to help her achieve her goals and dreams. And her sister is actually on the rowing team. So really a dream come true for Gabby Johnson.
Haley, thank you very much. Again, Johnson, all rookie team out of New Jersey. Already has produced 5 goals this year. A moment ago, we saw the Knights with another corner trying to find Amon, but still have not found that insurance. And that ball meant for Wilkins off the bench already has come in today, the sophomore. It's her 11th appearance off the bench after making 7 starts this year. Had a brilliant sophomore campaign, freshman campaign, I should say, but still was able to take a different role with the emergence of Johnson on the team.
Genova there getting a little frustrated on this near sideline, the right fullback. Just keep the chin up. Did a good job with the right toe to deflect the ball free, and almost one good possession for the Temple team at the top of their attacking third, but the Knights that come away with it.
Again, a rare touch early. We saw Cindy Brown, a sub on that back line for Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak. I'm not going to question her defensive choices after the career she had as a great defender, both as a national champion at the collegiate ranks and then going on to play professionally. Safe to say that Zahadak's one of our top 2 favorite husband-wife duos on coaching staffs here in the American. We'll see the other top 2 finalists, the Browns, in the semifinals, our gracious hosts. Those 2 couples linked with each of them having their previous coaching jobs at Virginia Commonwealth. The Browns preceding the Zahadaks. Right now, the Knights with a 1-goal advantage here in the opening half. This is the first round of the American Women's Soccer Championship. Top 2 seeds get a bye to the semifinals for the advantage of their play in the regular season. Right now, the 3-seed Knights, the 6-seed Owls looking for the right to play Memphis on Friday. Memphis with that great defense, the number 2 seed this year.
Both sets of coaches trying to give important players some respite prior to the halftime break.
Javon Dupree, Jules Blank will both come on. A couple of Philadelphia natives. The sophomore and junior, your most recent subs for Temple. Heat a little more of a factor here in a conference tournament than probably a lot of Division I conference tournaments, as we are here in Tampa, Florida. You'll see plenty of conference tournaments where all the highlights players wearing gloves, other than the goalkeepers.
Had a cold front come through Florida. Didn't quite get all the way down to Tampa, but
missed its connecting flight.
Temperature is a lot better than it would be if it was at the start of the soccer season, when you're playing in the mid-90s with 100% humidity.
Plummer, a lot of space to work with. Able to thread the needle. Right around the perimeter. Will slip one through, but no threat there. Basilio has it.
Good organization there for Temple, just keeping things in front. Philly will take that type of shot all day long.
Temple's conference wins came on the road at Houston, then that overtime win at home against USF. Also a draw against Cincinnati. Plummer. You notice she watches the ball, not the body. She's not going to be shaken very often defensively.
Well, this was really clever play from Temple to win the ball back. 22 coming back defensively, just picking the pocket. Needs to be a little bit more willing to use the left leg to kick the ball, not just for standing on. The shot available on the left peg, but never took it.
It was Jules Blank with the opportunity a moment ago after she had subbed in here near the end of the first half. She came in with this young woman, Javon Dupree.
Good choice from Dupree there. Knew that she wasn't going to be able to control the ball. Communication from teammates saying, leave it, leave it, leave it. Get the possession back on the throw-in.
Knights and Owls here in our first matchup of the day. It's Halloween, so of course we'll have some Pirates later on, as ECU will collide with SMU. Dupree on the wing, trying to shake three Knights and will win a corner kick. Not too shabby for the sophomore.
I nearly went to the Halloween store and got us some Knights and Mustangs and
we'd have to be
Owls and Pirate outfits.
As long as everybody was equally represented.
That's what we'd have to do.
So first corner kick opportunity after conceding 7 corners to UCF this opening half. Emily Keidel. Junior delivers. And they just can't connect on the back post. Still trying to track it down. And the Knights with the first touch at the top of the 18. Owls not going away just yet. Wilkins. 40 minutes in the books. UCF with the narrowest of advantages after that ball by the narrowest of margins crossing the goal line as determined by our officials earlier this half. The header from Kristen Scott, all rookie this year in the American, holding up. Just able to chip it over the head of Amon. Advares has it with Sarah McGlynn charging.
There's a communication that you need from your goalkeeper and the confidence of Advares to come out and claim that ball. Pulling the defenders off of the play. Often it's sometimes that's the difference between the goalkeepers. Both can be good shot stoppers. One goalkeeper distributes the ball a little bit better, communicates a little bit better, and she's the one wearing the gloves during the game.
Reminder to stick around at halftime as Haley will have a chance to speak with both coaches. It'll be Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak joining us on her way into the locker room, and we'll check in with Seamus O'Connor, much to the delight of his family tuning in from across the globe. After they emerge from his speech and a handball on Temple, we'll give this back over to the Knights. Again, Coach Zahadak, a national champion as recently as 1997 with those Tar Heels. Had a homecoming back in Chapel Hill. Played both North Carolina as well as Top 25 Texas, another Tar Heel at the helm of that Longhorn program, and Ange Kelly, former teammate of a woman by the name of Mia Hamm and Christine Lilly. They've had some good ones up there.
Just a few.
More than a few national championships. We will see Coach Petroselli and the SMU Mustangs a little bit later on he's a part of an elite group with that championship at Notre Dame of active coaches who have won a title, because the vast majority belong to Anson.
Well, North Carolina, I think they 100 games without losing, if not more, at one point.
I think that Ham group, and they spread it out over 5 years, went either 98-1-1 or 99-1. Thrilled to have all of you with us, whether it be in Ireland or Lexington, Virginia. Biggest of cities, smallest of towns. And throw coming up here for Lawrence. Again, second team all conference. Those awards announced earlier today. Ball sent in, quickly escorted out by Brown. Aisha Brown, first team all conference for the Owls. And UCF will win another one that was up for grabs. UCF out shooting Temple now 8-2 in this one. Again, the corner kick advantage of 7-1. First 7 going the way of the Knights as they made the short reasonable trek here to Tampa. The war on I-4, it's been a good one over the years. If they can renew that rivalry, it means they'll be playing in the championship on Sunday. That'll be with our friend Glenn Davis over on ESPNU. This will stay with the Owls, and they'll say no. Knights will win it back. So final minute counting down. In a moment, Haley Outen will have a chance to catch up with Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak, get her thoughts on a goal advantage here in the first round. Single elimination here in Tampa. Temple trying to be opportunistic here. They're going to make the Knights work for it these final 20+ seconds. Still 13 seconds on the official clock.
10,
Countdown begins.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
This will get caught up in what little breeze there is. A Kristen Scott goal. The freshman with her first scoring strike of the conference postseason gives UCF the lead. Her head coach, Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak, now with our Haley Outen.
Coach, 7 corners for your team in the first half. Kristen Scott able to finish. How important was it for your team to finally capitalize in that first half?
Yeah, we really need to. I mean, Temple's a really good team, and both teams are competing at their best, so it's going to come down to little moments like that, so I'm glad we were able to put it away.
Temple definitely putting some pressure on your defense to get the ball out. What do you hope to see from your team in the second half?
I think we need to just be better 1v1 defenders, just have a little bit more bite. It just looks like we have another level in us. I know we want it, but we got to show it in more areas around the field. So playing together and just a little more competitive spirit.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Again, we'll have a chance to hear from Seamus O'Connor on the other side of halftime. We have reached the midway point. UCF, the number 3 seed in the driver's seat, up 1-0. We'll be back with more halftime coverage here on the American Digital Network.
In just 5 seasons, storied programs have united as a Power 6 conference. We've watched record breakers, All-Americans, and victories that prove we are not only equal to the best, but often better. Can you imagine what's ahead for this Power 6 conference? We can. Because the best way to predict the future is to create the future. The American, powered by determination.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Big changes are on the way.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
I got it. Oh, this is big. Wow. This is big.
This is big.
This is big.
Purdy scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Quaso from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is the means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
officials,
student athletes,
coaches, and team representatives. Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Fifth goal of the year for the freshman Kristen Scott gives the Knights the opening advantage in the first half. If they can hang on, they will be colliding with the Memphis Tigers in a 2 versus 3 seed matchup in the Friday semifinals. As our halftime coverage continues here on the American Digital Network, we check back in with Haley Outen.
We've got some time here at halftime, and Lincoln and Matt, as you both know, all teams sort of have their own recruiting styles and recruiting philosophies. For UCF's, it's heavily focused on the international side, and for Temple, a lot of Pennsylvania natives. So we want to test your knowledge at home. Does UCF have more international players, or does Temple have more Pennsylvanians on their rosters? Leave us your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah, it really is a unique dynamic. Again, her question posed is, of all things, of course, Temple in Philadelphia, do they have more Pennsylvania natives on their roster? Or has UCF over there in Orlando actually gone international with more players? We'll have that answered a little bit later on. Of course, the biggest question you came into today with, who is going to advance? Right now, the Knights up by a goal with 45 minutes left in regulation.
In just 5 seasons, storied programs have united as a Power Six conference. We've watched record breakers, All-Americans, and victories that prove we are not only equal to the best, but often better. Can you imagine what's ahead for this Power Six conference? We can, because the best way to predict the future is to create the future. The American, powered by determination.
Discovery. It can come from any direction, in places new and familiar, but often starts from within.
Big changes are on the way.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power Six conference known as the American, powered by determination.
I got it. Oh, this is big. Wow. This is big.
This is big.
This is big.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year. Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster.
Be smarter and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
People say we're big. Wow. Well, what is big?
This is big.
It's an energy. An opportunity. So go on. Dream big. Because big is just the beginning.
I got it. This is big.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
A big save, a clutch hit.
Or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American, power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
First round getting started today on this Halloween for the American Women's Soccer Championship. This is one of 2 matches today as the 3, 4, 5, and 6 seeds all in action with the right to move on to the semifinals a little bit later on. Lincoln Rose, Matt Stubbington, along with Haley out and down on the pitch. And Matt, the first 45 minutes early on tempo, we talked about a team that represents its city well, that blue-collar mentality. They were hanging in there with UCF. Pretty physical start.
They did a really good job with the start to the game, and Coach O'Connor came in with the game plan and wanted to make sure that the team was organized defensively, and they matched the physicality of UCF and putting some physical contact on the ball. And there was a shot from Quaxer, easily saved by the goalkeeper Basilio in net for the Owls. That was a good effort there, testing Veris. A little bit of a easy save for the goalkeeper for UCF off the right foot of McGlynn. And some good players on the Knights. And that was a decent save from the goalkeeper, Basilio. As she moves to her right, Mermin with the shot through traffic. The goalkeeper saw it late, had to react quickly to the ball. And Veres has commanded her 18 really nicely through the first 45 minutes, communicating well with the back four of the Knights. And then there was the go-ahead goal. Did it cross the line? From our angle, it looked like it probably did when it bounced up into the hands of Basilio. And either way, it is in the box score as a goal for the Knights, scored by Kristen Scott, her 5th of the year, assisted by Orshman.
So that puts the burden on Temple to find at least one goal at the expense of that young woman wearing the number 1, your 2-time American Goalkeeper of the Year, Vera Varas. Right now, she is looking for the clean sheet when we come back and put 45 minutes on the clock. In fact, I think we're going to be able to keep it right here on the American Digital Network and a little bit have a chance to check in with Seamus O'Connor in a moment when Temple emerges from their locker room. But, you know, sometimes you'll see a goalkeeper with 100 saves during the season, and as much as they needed all 100 of those saves from that young woman, that's not what you're looking for from your back line and a keeper. You'd much rather have somebody with 28 saves or, 35 saves, because that means their communication with their back line has kept them organized and those shots aren't coming through.
That's exactly right. You don't want your goalkeeper making a plethora of saves through the season, because that means that the rest of the team is not playing very well and the goalkeeper is carrying the load. But UCF are organized defensively, and again, communication is such a big part of the position of goalkeeper, and Veres does that really well and distributes the ball as well. And that's something that Coach Tiffany Roberts-Sahadak and her staff want from the goalkeeping position, because UCF do play through the back line whenever possible. They don't mind going long, but they like to possess the ball up the pitch, because they've got so many good players, so many good components to the team, that they're able to pass the ball out of trouble and break the pressure of the opposition.
Well, those Knights have been road warriors this year, but of course their trip much shorter than the women from Philadelphia. Temple coming back out. We'll see what kind of adjustments Seamus O'Connor and his staff have in store with Temple. They see just one ball, and again, not the most decisive of goals, so Basilio likely doesn't have her confidence shaken from conceding the lone goal so far, but she would love for whether it be Johnson or somebody else up front to step up and quickly level this one to start the second half.
It's frustrating for Temple that that ball didn't go in the back of the net, but the reaction of the players tells me that the ball did cross the goal line. Nobody argued about it from Temple. They just got on with it, took the ball to the center circle and took the kickoff. So the players around the ball, for me, tell me that that ball did indeed go in.
Let's check back in with Haley. She's with Seamus O'Connor.
Coach, down a goal, still a half to go. What was your message to the team at halftime?
Keep doing what you're doing. Finish your chances. We played a great first 15, 20 minutes. We had the upper hand, couldn't finish it, and then we just fell asleep on a corner. But they're playing tremendous. I couldn't be much more proud of them. They're representing the university, and they're representing their families real good. So that's all we asked, was another 45 minutes like that.
You told me before this game your team is a tough group. They play with a chip on their shoulder. How do you expect them to respond here in the second half with the season on the line?
3 goals. That's how they're going to respond. Easily 3 goals. We'll win it 3-1 or 3-2.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Welcome.
Pouring on lots of sunscreen and lots of goals in the second half here in sunny Tampa. Again, love the personalities throughout this conference. So fun. In addition to the competition on the pitch, we have the luxury of getting to talk to a lot of the coaches throughout the year prior to broadcasts here on the American Digital Network. Always great to check in with Coach O'Connor and his staff. Right now, that is what is standing in the way of Temple and their opportunity to find their first victory ever in an American Conference tournament for women's soccer. The best in the league as voted on by the coaches the past 2 years. And she's doing some coaching of her own.
Again, it's that communication from the goalkeeping position. And Veres is such a talented goalkeeper, and it'll be a tough ask if Temple are able to put 3 in net and have to play more expansive in the second half. Make the passes a little bit quicker. Some touches, extra touches on the ball not needed at times for the Owls. And the movement needs to be a little bit better as well from the team in white. And it's UCF that have the ball to start the second half. And whatever happens, the Knights have to make sure that they match the intensity of Temple coming in to the second half. And there will be a storm to weather for the team from Orlando, and they just have to make sure that they concentrate and make sure that they keep the play in front of them. If they're able to break the initial pressure, then the adrenaline will wear down from Temple, from that halftime talk from the coach, Seamus O'Connor.
Again, Temple's looking for its first goal since that victory against Tulsa 1-0. They've been shut out 1-0 by Memphis and UConn in their last two outings to close out the regular season, ultimately qualifying here in Tampa for the conference tournament. Back underway with the second half, as we have swapped ends, and now it's Basilio with the honor of saluting the sun all of the second half, shielding it out of her eyes much of the time with that right hand.
Tough for the goalkeepers in these conditions. Often you'll see a goalkeeper will don a baseball cap to try and keep the sun out of their eyes a little bit. But Basilio not doing that, using the right arm at the moment to create some shade for herself.
They link up at midfield with Sorrentino in the sophomore from Bryn Mawr. Johnson looking for Sorrentino off her heel, still with a chance to play. Kelsey Dolan, one of your captains on that back line, the senior from Egg Harbor City, New Jersey. You know, we were talking about Emma Wilkins, the sophomore, but not only did she enable the freshman Johnson to move to the top, but she also kind of helped them recruit the younger sister of Kelsey Dolan, Julia Dolan, your central mid these days. They weren't going to go too hard after her just because, out of respect, younger sister wanted to give her some options in the world, but Julia really close with Emma. And by signing one talented player, you got a great central mid who's been a key to their style of play at Temple.
Great if you can find the players like that. Connection with the club, connection with the family.
Oh, well played through. Barr is back on her line, and it'll be a corner kick coming up after Lawrence had no chance but to send it ultimately in touch. As coming off the bench today, it's been Javon Dupree. She had a little bit of space out here on the wing.
Staying out near the near sideline, creating the angle for the pass. Good recovery from Lawrence to put that one out for the corner kick. He just needs a better touch into the box, more aggressive, get past the defender more quickly.
Just the second corner of the match for Temple. Again, it's Emily Keidel. One assist this year for the junior. It would be a big second connection if they can find it here. Knight struggling to clear, still bouncing around inside the 6. It'll trickle into the gloves of Boris.
Temple just couldn't find a way to get the purchase on the ball to turn it goalward with any authority. That ball literally did trickle into the gloves of Veris, and through traffic she was very grateful to move to her left and dive on that ball as Dupree tries to get the turnover right at the start of the attacking third for Temple, and indeed does so. Wins the throw-in.
It could not get to her quickly enough. Plummer. A precarious ball finally comes back down to earth. One to run on. Knights off the races, pushing numbers forward, looking for Orshman. Orshman sends a shot over the crossbar. Little 1v1 opportunity, had her chance.
Quick counter for the Knights, getting forwards in numbers. There were 4 players there for UCF. I'd like to see Orshman get a little bit wider. That way she wouldn't be running away from the goal as she gets to the pass. She'd be running onto the ball with a touch towards the target.
That was Aisha Brown who was trying to keep up with her and ultimately did not give her a favorable angle. They're both sophomores. It's going to be a great battle. Flag stays down. Only the keeper standing in the way, and just enough off of that ball to keep it 1-0 for now. And the rebound went to the Knights, but they still have not found the insurance. Basilio in the unenviable position of staring down the shot.
This is a good ball over the top. This was a bad touch, though, from Mernon. Takes her away from the goalkeeper. Basilio did a really good job of standing tall, being patient, didn't commit too quickly to the player. And we'll want that one back. It was a missed opportunity for a 2-0 lead.
Well, Temple gave it then right back to Taylor. Mentioned she had that goal off the bench in their first meeting this year. As things settle down now.
Coach O'Connor is indicating to want Emily Keitel to get back and wide to receive the pass from the goalkeeper. I like that motion, but Kelsey Dolan needs to read that play and get to the sideline more quickly so she can receive the outlet pass that would be forthcoming from her central defending partner.
UCF, the number 3 seed. We've actually over the years now seen the number 3 seed reach the final as often as the number 1 seed has. The Knights team right now working with the goal advantage as the foul called on Sorrentino.
Clumsy challenge from Sorrentino. Lawrence was going back towards her goal. Sorrentino just needs to be a little bit more patient. Don't lunge in, force the play back towards the Knights goal, then put the pressure on.
Lawrence. Temple really struggling on that back line to get clearance when that ball is at their feet. It's prolonged opportunities like this one for the Knights. And again, the question was, does UCF have more international players or does Temple have more players from Philadelphia? UCF added 2 more freshmen this year from France. That gives them 9 international players on their roster. From the state of Pennsylvania for Temple, 11 in-state players. So Temple narrowly edges out UCF in that question for those of you who chimed in.
I have to say I'm relieved that at the end of these questions, Haley says, for you at home, not for you in the booth.
Always go with your first instinct before bubbling in your answer.
I'd need multiple choice. I guess it's true or false, or 50-50 on that one, though.
Lincoln Rose, Matt Stubbington, along with Haley Outen here on the American Digital Network. We're fortunate to have another great year of fall sports coverage here on ADN. Women's and men's soccer, of course, the men's soccer championship next week. Site still to be determined. It is just as competitive as the women's side of things. And next year we'll throw in a volleyball championship tournament into the mix as well. This year's regular season volleyball champion will have the opportunity to host the inaugural tournament next year.
Johnson just walked into a wall named Plummer.
Yeah, Kanya Plummer still has not even played her 10th match of the year after spending all that time captaining Jamaica. But what an honor to lead that group to their first ever Women's World Cup coming up. Open space out wide, and she only was going to have a chance for that quick strike, and Mernon denied. It'll be a corner kick, though, for UCF, already their 8th of the match.
Really important blocking challenge there from Dolan. Puts it out for the corner.
Again, Kelsey Dolan getting to play with her sister once again this year, Julia. Lawrence. About 12 yards up. Temple got the first touch.
Lawrence delivers such a good ball on those corner kicks. A driven, hard cross right along the line of the 6 is generally where she places the ball. Consistent on the service, and with the pace that she puts on it, it's so hard as a defender to make a play on it. Saw in the first half she had that one that was barely missed from Sanders.
Yeah, just less than an inch over the head of Sanders. Beautiful ball right through. It'll ultimately go wide. The Knights so close to finally finding that second goal. As sliding in, Jessica Taylor
My attention was out on the left flank, seeing whether the ball was going to be played out wide. Orshman threading the needle. And Taylor choosing to go with the left peg, not the right. I'm going to falter for the effort, but she'll be disappointed she didn't hit the target. That was a wonderful pass. In the back line of Temple, somebody has to step up and put some pressure on the player on the ball. That passing lane was fairly tight. Orshman somehow found that white ball through.
It can get frustrating not finding that insurance goal, and all of a sudden one ball doesn't bounce your way and Temple's back in this, leveling it at a goal apiece. See if Temple can find that first goal here in Tampa.
Referee with a nice back heel.
Drool. Natalie Drool here at Temple. Of course, her sister had a great career at UConn, Heidi. As Varus squeezes it in and quickly back in play. I don't think UConn's going to be missing too many tournaments in the near future. Promoting from within, a former Husky grade in her own right, and they'll be back on track in no time. Plummer, see where she wants to go. This one from about 25 out, and it'll carry. Never died down, simply a goal kick.
Not sure what Orshman was trying on that one. Just waves a hand of apology to the teammates. Taylor and Mernon were late arriving.
UCF will be the first to dip into its bench at the next stoppage in play. So, of course, Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak going into halftime talking to Haley. Of course, wanted to talk about defense and still ways they could improve. Looking for the goal here. Well, Seamus O'Connor guaranteed us 3 goals for his Owls. And I see no downside in that promise.
Good to have a positive outlook. Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak wanting better discipline and better 1v1 defending from her team. And they've stepped up to that requirement from the head coach.
Still on it. Able to work her way free. Quaxa. 25 yards out. And so close to be able to find Mernon all alone at the top of the 18.
I like the way Orshman received that ball on the half turn. And controls it with the left and then is immediately turning through 180 degrees to get the ball forwards. Almost picks out that pass to Mernon on this near sideline. Didn't quite come off because of good defending from number 7, Kelsey Dolan.
Throw coming up. We throw it down to Haley.
You mentioned Temple head coach Seamus O'Connor promising us 3 goals here in the second half, and for Temple to do so, they'll have to get by the back-to-back goalkeeper of the year in Vera Varus. And I had a chance to talk to head coach Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak about her goalkeeper before the game, and boy, did she have a long list of nice words to describe Vera. She says you never have to worry about her, always reliable. The team just has so much respect for her. She's mentally tough, she's positive, she's smart. But more importantly, she leads by example and knows when to use her voice. And when she speaks, the team knows it's important and they listen.
Yeah, and Haley, building on that, obviously when it's conference tournament time, we're no stranger to seeing these shootout rounds that are simply not a factor during the regular season when you can end a match on a draw and not have to advance somebody. Just out of habit, I talk to every coach. Do you think this is your goalkeeper also in the case of a shootout? And you figured of all the keepers in the league, Vera would be your woman, but she at least jokingly said, maybe. We will see if we get to that point. Temple would love for there to be a shootout. It means they will find an equalizer here in the second half. But just because you play all 90 minutes every match does not mean that you are the ideal candidate to be between those posts. And so sometimes there's a little trick up the sleeve of a staff with a rarely used keeper who might have some quicker reactions from one post to the other.
There's some plus sides to that, but there's also the fact that the goalkeeper that you put in has been sat on the bench for 110 minutes and coming off cold.
She has the lone goal so far, and she has a brace. The opener with her head, this one with her boot. Kristen Scott, the freshman, with quite the opener. She is slow to pick herself up here, a little bit of concern as UCF takes a 2-0 lead.
Just had the angle. Was patient in the build-up. Just checked back into the game. Coming off the bench. So important to just be patient. Don't commit to the run too early. It's a really good job of just staying out wide, staying onside. Not the best first touch, but the last touch was very important. Cilio, no chance. Maybe a little bit close to the near post, the goalkeeper. See the width that was created by Taylor. I mean, by Scott, sorry. Just allowed that angle pass to be made. And then she's able to then take that first touch towards the goal. And that's why she's able to put it into the back of the net. Really good positioning from Kristen Scott.
The freshman had 4 goals all year. Already has half that today with the brace. So now a multiple goal lead for the Knights. They have not given up multiple goals except for twice this year in conference. Their loss to ECU 2-1 and a rare match against UConn when it was a 5-3 shootout. UCF scored the first 4 of that match. UConn would make it 4-3 up in Stores, a match we had right here on the ADN. But they would find one in the end. Sanders with a hat trick in that one. So it is rare you get multiple goals past your 2-time keeper of the year. And now that's the challenge for Temple.
Joe Connor talking over the plan with his assistant on the sideline, trying to figure out how to make a change. Looks like he may have gone with 3 players up top, 3 in the midfield at this early juncture after conceding the second.
Knights looking for more. And away from the ball, they have Scott again making another run to the top of the 18. And the Owls finally have held. Reminder, this is the first of 2 matches today here on the American Digital Network, part of the first round of the American Women's Soccer Championship. The other clash, the 4 seed and 5 seed, as ECU and SMU collide. The winner will get USF in the second semifinal on Friday. And this time Basilio comes up, offside flag is up, it's a moot point.
Let's see the referee just hesitate a little bit on the whistle there. The flag comes up, offside is indicated. Ball is harmlessly into the arms of the goalkeeper. Basilio just allow the keeper then just restart play. Doesn't need to set the ball down for the free kick. Just comes out nicely there.
Yeah, she read it well. Had she hesitated for a moment, would have been stuck in a precarious situation. That ball at the top of the 18. Well, they have not grown tired of Kristen Scott. They go to number 7 again. This time she'll try to create up top, 13 yards up ahead, and the shot will go high.
Just an easily worked play there from Scott, combining with Lawrence. Just a short, long pass down the near sideline. Takes the defender, delivers a good ball just behind the hip of Orschmann. German couldn't turn it in on frame as it goes over Basilio's net.
Second half subs for Temple. We see the return of Emma Wilkins along with Juliet Esposito, the senior. We'll also see Kat McCoy come on as the 11 out on the pitch gets older for Seamus O'Connor. And we'll see a trio for the Knights soon enough as well. But this isn't a matter of Robert Zahadak playing her bench. Sanders is among those about to make her return. So think about that. UCF has been able to grow their advantage all this time with Stephanie Sanders and her 12 goals this year and one of the nation's best 6-game winners on the bench here in the second half. She'll wait for the next chance, and here it is as she comes on along with teammates Sydney Brown as well as Jada Scott. So an injection of a couple of freshmen and sophomores. Good minutes put in by Jessica Taylor. And one of the 2 freshmen from France, Legru, comes off as well. A little over 25 minutes for Temple to chip into this 2-goal deficit.
Well, space is going to open up now for the Knights going forwards. I believe Coach O'Connor has gone with a 3-4-3. Wait for a little bit longer to confirm that, but certainly there's been changes along that back line. Aisha Brown is now playing in the right wing position of midfield. Doesn't seem to be a right fullback at the moment, so I think it is a 3-4-3 for Temple.
Plummer back to Vars, who returns the favor. Knights unable to shut down this opportunity so far. Dolan, Julia Dolan. And your woman of the hour. Technically your woman of 66 minutes so far, Kristen Scott with 2 goals. Your difference on the scoreboard right now for UCF. As Mathilde Cack, your other French native in her freshman campaign for UCF. That was Emily Keidel matching up Sanders in the air. Memphis Tigers awaiting to find out whom they will meet in the semifinals. Right now, UCF in the driver's seat. And let's check back in with Haley Outen.
The 2 sisters on Temple from Egg Harbor City, New Jersey, and that's sophomore midfielder Julia Dolan and senior defender Kelsey Dolan. Now, it's kind of interesting how these 2 got to playing together at Temple. Julia, in the recruiting process, was actually interested in going to St. Joe's, and Kelsey was at Temple. The parents wanted them together, but Kelsey wrote a letter to Julia telling her, make this decision for yourself, not for mom and dad. And Kelsey was actually home for winter break. She walked into the room, and Julia was on the phone. Asked her who it was. She said, shh, it's Seamus. So Kelsey immediately ran downstairs and told her parents. So these 2 have played and started in all 18 matches together this season, and Coach O'Connor will tell you they have that Dolan toughness. He can trust that they'll give you 100% in every single game. And funny enough, Julia seeks Kelsey out after these big moments because they know they have this limited time together in college. And Kelsey says it's nice to have a piece of home here at Temple. And these 2 really trying to enjoy this experience here in the conference tournament and hoping this is not their last game together.
Yeah, Haley, obviously that's a special dynamic for sisters. We had mentioned how Seamus reinforced he was not going to be the one to initiate that initial recruitment of the younger sister. In fact, a friend of hers over in New Jersey, Emma Wilkins, a big part of that as well. the sophomore. Want to point out that Temple has made a sub in goal, Jordan Nash, and we were talking to Coach O'Connor about different scenarios. This is not a reflection about Basilio, but it's a different style of play they're going to need here for an offensive push. That means your back line's going to push forward to the midfield, and Jordan Nash is simply going to be your better option linking up with that back line on passes. Nash will be tested here. Sanders charging, and Nash comes up, and Sanders gets upended. Well, that's a ball you're almost always going to have to concede to the goalkeeper. And Sanders, who has not played much here in the second half, a scary moment.
This is really good goalkeeping from Nash. She's in net right now because she's a little bit better distributor of the ball than Basilio. Sanders landing on her shoulder by the indication of where she's holding herself as she's trying to get up to her feet. Where Stephanie Roberts-Sahadak is concerned. The thumb comes up.
Again, Stephanie had just subbed back in. And a young woman with hat tricks this year against Stetson and UConn. UCF, the women and men's program, both have a couple of players. Cal Jennings with the men's team with multiple hat tricks. But there you see Jordan Nash. That was her first test for the senior.
I'd say she passed it.
Again, so often we'll see a goalkeeper get pulled because of their own performance, but this really is a different style they're going to need with that back line pushing far up towards the midfield. You need somebody who can handle all that space.
Coach O'Connor, as you touched on, said that you may see this change being made, and he assured us that at no point would it be a reflection on the way that Morgan Basilio has played the game, because she is a good goalkeeper. We've seen her make some good saves in this match. Nash just has a little bit more in that right leg. So you see that ball thumped forwards about 10-15 yards further up the pitch than Basilio is able to do.
Of course, we saw Stephanie Sanders go down a moment ago in a scary moment, and what are minutes that probably aren't going to be critical today, but if you were to lose her going into that semifinal, you might start wondering, for a player who doesn't know any speed other than full speed ahead, whether you want to keep her out there.
A bigger picture as well for UCF as far as the extension of postseason players. The NCAA is right around the corner. Have to believe that the Knights would get an at-large bid if they aren't able to win this tournament and get the automatic.
Dropped out of the top 25. They'd be a lot more comfortable if they could get into that championship on Sunday. As Coach O'Connor will bring Sarah McGlynn back on. We mentioned a lot of Pennsylvania natives, 11 of them, but no shortage of next door neighbors in New Jersey coming over, joining the program as well. And the foul call just outside the 18. This will be a quality look for Temple coming up here, trying to cut this 2-goal deficit in half. It appears it'll be handled by Keidel. Bar is favoring the post just beyond your shot here on the near sun. Does not have that sun to contend with on this end. Final 19 minutes, down 2 goals. Back post from Keidel, and it will sail.
Trying to float that ball in, test the goalkeeper. Too careful on the service coming in was Keidel. Just looking back down at the record for UCF, and essentially they do have to win the tournament to get into the NCAA. Below 500 as far as the record is concerned.
Looking for their 10th win on the season.
I'm all kinds of confused. Box score I'm looking at has numbers reversed. I knew that they were better than the result, that the record that I'm looking at. Bottom line is that
Ball sent through, off the crossbar. This one does not take the favorable hop for the Knights, and Sanders denied.
Well, the crossbar is still moving, as that was a powerful shot from the right peg of Sanders.
Remember, these goals belong to USF. They are not inclined to give a favorable hop to UCF more than once. The Memphis Tigers await the team that survives this matchup. It'll be our first Friday semifinal right here on ADN. It'll be another 4:30 Eastern kick. Sanders, a ball to run on. Looking to test Nash. She now has 4 Owls, and the numbers game will add up. Sanders frustrated.
As well she might be. She just dribbled herself into pressure, turned the ball over in a favorable position, never got the shot off.
You know, how about that run? Although it'll be cut short from Brown. Aisha Brown, first team all-conference, just a sophomore. Guess who? Looking for the hat trick? No, the assist. Sanders with the punctuation. 3-0 UCF. And the Knights inching closer to that berth into the semifinals on Friday.
Ken Scott holding her position, creating the angle for the pass to be made. Because she's wide enough, the first touch can be aggressive towards goal. Nash commits. Sanders patient, stays on side, and Scott with the vision picks out her teammate for the easiest of finishes.
13th goal for Sanders, should be the icing on the cake here. Not bad for a bounce back year for Sanders, who missed so much time with that torn ACL a year ago. Recovered in time for the U20 World Cup with Germany. Her head coach says the best is still yet to come for the sophomore Stephanie Sanders this year, first team all-conference in the American. But all of that set up by Kristen Scott. A couple of goals and now an assist. You're going to have those two playing with each other for a couple more years in Orlando. Sophomore and freshman.
Great work from Scott, committing the goalkeeper, looking towards the net as if she was going to take the shot, understanding that Sanders was going to be there in support, delivers the pass right on a platter. That'll probably be one of the easier goals that Sanders will score in her career.
Again, Vera Varis looking for her 5th clean sheet on the year. Yes, she has conceded 3 goals on that one occasion at UConn, and that was in a victory, 5-3. Such an odd afternoon of soccer. .15 to play. Scott with the step. It'll be a tough angle. And wraps it around the back of the netting. UCF will dip back into the bench. Daria Rajay will come on, freshman out of Gainesville. Of course, her sister Farah set her on the UCF volleyball program not too long ago.
Scott on that occasion stayed narrow. Pass was a good one. Kaido was able to do just enough to force number 7 wide. Going to be an impossible angle for the shot.
You see there Asia Irvin also coming on, the freshman out of Orlando. Of course, her dad, former Knight football player for UCF before going on to the NFL in the draft. So a couple of Knights with family ties coming on here for Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak. Scott out wide to Brown. The freshman. with one owl. And into the top of the netting, simply a goal kick coming up for Jordan Nash, the senior keeper for the Owls, who we saw come on for a third time this year. And since we've seen UCF grow its advantage 3-0.
Nash was very thankful that ball hit the top of the net. Wasn't in a very good position to get across and make the save. Had the cross stayed in bounds.
Also thankful that the sun is starting to retire on this Halloween evening now. Sneaking behind the press box, giving her a little bit of a respite. Foul called at midfield, sets up this kick. Keidel. And Plummer fending off just long enough. Charging McGinley to allow Varis to squeeze it in.
That was too easy for the goalkeeper to collect. Temple have to get further up the pitch, organize the runs a little bit better. Try and get in front, across the face of the goalkeeper.
You know, we have not had to talk much about Kanya Plummer today. Obviously, her accomplishments with Jamaica, but when we've seen her tested by some of the league's best up top, she has been tremendous to watch. She can put on a spectacle, and she can even put together an offensive touch if needed.
She's going to go forwards a couple of times. Said she hasn't really needed to do so. She was an absolute brick wall when Johnson ran into her at the beginning of the second half. UCF going further and further into their bench, giving some players a rest.
They anticipate they have a match coming up on Friday. You talk about rest, that is the benefit of capturing a top 2 seed. UCF on the final day of the season slipped from a potential number 1, all of a sudden out of contention for a bye into that 3 seed. New format adopted a couple years ago by the league. And really it helps reward your play for the regular season top 2 teams, positions them better for NCAA tournament runs. And this will be your 3rd corner kick of the day for the Owls. Emily Keidel will continue to do the honors. You see Paula Jurowitz right there next to Seamus O'Connor. Again, one of the greatest midfielders Temple has had in recent memory. Graduated a couple years ago. 5 career goals. They all happen to be game winners during her time. And now she works so closely with these midfielders for Temple. And, well, from a midfielder over to a defender, and Coach Robert Sahadak. Sent in. They'll keep it tight. Top of the 6. Got the header, just could not direct it on frame, ultimately linking up there with the younger of the 2 Dolans, Julia.
Dolan was moving backwards. McGlynn needs to just call Dolan off. A big shout of "I've got it." That would have been, probably would have been in the back of the net. McGlynn was in great shape there.
Julia at 5'3", McGlynn a towering 5'5".
Not about the height, it's about the position. Either way, because of the lack of communication, another chance goes begging for the Owls.
Meanwhile, jumping into your picture for UCF, Stephanie Sanders just narrowly under 6 feet. Another opportunity, the great set piece coming up here for Temple. If they are going to mount a late comeback with 9.5 to spare.
There's little moments like that that really please you as a coach. Battling all the way was Emma Wilkins, winning the corner kick.
Okay, the Knights keep the sheet clean. Temple still on it. Can't get it back inside the 18. Down the middle, just hoping for a miscue. And the Owls will have a throw.
Genova needs to play that ball out more quickly. Takes the extra touch. Again, that allows UCF to adjust. The earlier ball was on.
Oh, just beyond the outstretched boot of Wilkins.
Concentration, trying to say.
And Varus able to land on it.
I'm trying to concentrate on saying how well Varus is doing that.
After you put in 90 minutes, we'll have you put in another 90 or more. Look forward to the second half of our doubleheader here in the first round. ECU and SMU. The women from Greenville and Dallas colliding next here on the American Digital Network. Winner will get USF, the #1 seed this week, on Friday in the semifinals. It was 1-0 at the half. The goal belonging to Kristen Scott after being assisted by Horseman. Owls behind that back line, chip one in, top of the 6, but nobody there to capitalize. Scott would find a second goal in the second half here. And of course, what is a Knights match without Stephanie Sanders finding the back of the net? Sanders with her 13th goal this year has given UCF this 3-goal advantage now. For good measure, assisted by Scott, who's had a part of all 3 goals.
Pretty good afternoon. There's #7 for UCF. She now makes her way to the bench. Subs coming in.
LeGroux, Sydney Brown, Madison Mernon all returning. And Plummer. Next time we will see Kanya will be Friday against Memphis. Flag stays down. Varus on it, and again, no deference given that time to the keeper. Temple wants any ball they think they have a chance at. It's a back line not unfamiliar playing without Plummer. Again, she's missed a handful, especially throughout conference play when she was with the Jamaican national team. They'll look to close things out with 6 minutes to go. Irvin. Sanders looking to come help.
It's a great situation for UCF right now. Able to make a lot of changes, get players rest. Newcomers coming in, able to try and make an impact, build their resume going further into postseason as far as they want for playing time. The other thing, though, for UCF is can they manage the remaining 5 minutes of the game, keep the clean sheet, and find a way of getting the ball as far away from their goal and allow Varus to be as quiet as she has throughout this match.
Well, Temple has reinserted its captain, Kelsey Dolan, the senior, who might be playing her final minutes now as an Owl. We also saw Jessica Taylor return for UCF. Back post. Squeezed in by Jordan Nash, again, who is inserted here in the second half, midway through.
That's why Nash is in. That long booming punt that she has.
Yeah, if the Owls were to win a free kick around midfield, presumably she would have that kick. Let you push all other numbers in front of her. Settled by Sydney Brown. One of your 7 freshmen from Florida. You mentioned some reserves, and they're looking for their moment in the box score. That one will get away. Seamus O'Connor now looks to Molly Tobin. Comes in for Juliet Esposito. And the senior likely has played her final collegiate minutes.
Coach O'Connor has not given up, still communicating with the team, still coaching, still teaching.
Again, Irvin tries to get things started, but the flag is up with Taylor offside.
It's a close call there. Couldn't hold the run long enough, could Taylor.
Well, the opening goal was by a hair for UCF crossing that line, but since then they've eliminated any doubt. A couple of insurance goals in the second half. Nash on her line. And the ball from Taylor not threatening.
Taylor just took too long there, needed to swing the leg through the ball a little bit earlier. Would have tested the goalkeeper. Nash was not set.
Out of Brick, New Jersey, Jordan Nash. Johnson wrapping up a great freshman campaign. Temple looking to eliminate that clean sheet. And you have to be careful with those tackles inside the area. Little over a minute remaining. Temple will see its season come to a conclusion. 7-11-1 on the year after going 3-5-1 in conference. It's a team that was not supposed to be here. Picked by the coaches 10th out of 10 teams coming into the season. They would capture one of the just handful 6 berths into this year's conference tournament, exceeding those expectations and something to build upon this offseason. A lot of talented young players for Seamus O'Connor returning, and a lot of seniors that they'll certainly miss as well.
Had some good results through the season, highlighted by the win against USF. Certainly a lot to build on for the Owls.
Only way the Bulls would have had a chance to avenge that loss would be if these Owls and the Bulls had met in Sunday's championship. I don't think either of them would have complained about that opportunity, but instead, Vera Varis now 17 seconds away from her 5th shutout on the year. It'll take the Knights to 10 wins, 6 losses, and a draw after a 6-3 campaign in the conference.
7, 6, 5, 4,
Kristen Scott's brace, the freshman from Orlando, will have your game winner in this one. Her first career game winner at the collegiate level. And of course, for good measure, Stephanie Sanders found her 13th goal to make it 3-0 at the time. UCF will march on and play the Memphis Tigers, a 3 versus 2 seed matchup on Friday. As we have a chance now to check back in, Haley Outens with the victorious head coach, Tiffany Roberts-Zahadak.
Coach, your freshman, Kristen Scott, 2 goals and 1 assist. How impressive was it that she was able to step up and play such a big impact here in this postseason setting?
Yeah, she was wonderful today. She looked fresher than she has in a while, so I'm really proud of her. Her work ethic, I think she created a lot of opportunities because she worked really hard, so I'm really proud of her.
Towards the end of the game, I heard you yell from the bench, shutout mentality. How important was it for your team to get a clean sheet, especially being up 3-0?
Yeah, it's really important. I think just for your, mentality going into the next game, scoring a few goals, and then keeping the ball out of, our net. So I think it's just good for our confidence. So I'm glad that we were able to do that today.
Up next, you take on a Memphis team that only a few teams have had success against this year, your team being one of them. How does the shift focus to get ready for Friday's game?
Yeah, we quickly need to shift focus. Memphis obviously is a very good team, and we need to recover as quickly as possible here. But no doubt we'll come to play and do our best.
Thanks a lot. See you Friday, Coach.
Thank you.
Lincoln?
Haley, thank you very much. The Knights have now scored 3 goals in each of their last 3 victories and 2 of their last 3 matches. And, well, we won't just settle for a chat with the victorious coach, but also with your standout freshman, Kristen Scott. She's going to be joined by Haley in just a moment. Kristen came into this match 4 goals in her freshman campaign. She picks up the brace here in today's first-round matchup, and she is now with Haley Alton.
2 goals and 1 assist tonight. Your first time playing in the conference tournament. Why were you able to find such success here tonight?
Well, it's exciting. You know, you get really pumped for it, and you just want to work really hard for your seniors to make their season last as long as you can, and so you just keep pushing hard.
With it being your first game here in a conference championship, win or go home, postseason setting, what were the nerves like before this game?
You know, not as bad as I thought they were going to be. I think, like, leading up to it, I was really nervous, and then I got here, and I was like, okay, let's just go, you know.
Getting ready for Memphis on Friday, a team that has had a very successful season. How does your team get ready for this short turnaround in what will be a very important game for your team here in the postseason?
Well, we're just going to play our game. We're not going to change anything based on our opponent, so we'll just come out ready for them.
Thanks a lot. Good luck Friday.
Thank you.
And again, Kristen from right there in Orlando. Did not cost much of the recruiting budget for the Sahedaks a couple years back. Hometown girl makes good. A brace today. UCF, the number 3 seed. They will take on the Memphis Tigers. 2 seed, 3 seed classic coming up on Friday, but we still have a good one tonight. 4 and 5 seeds collide. ECU and SMU next up here on the American Digital Network as that match gets underway at 7 Eastern here on ADN.